Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm down here at Suzuki Worthing to look at their latest and greatest entry into the PHEV market. It's absolutely freezing, but luckily a barista van has turned up and I think that thing looks awesome. I would like to review that. But we're here to look at the brand new ACROSS, which is parked over here. So we're gonna drink this rather nice toffee latte and we'll have a look around the car. Yeah, not the best weather, but rather a cool and interesting looking car over here. So let's go and have a look. So here we go guys, this is the new ACROSS. Now it might look very familiar to you, and that's because it's come out of the strategic alliance between Toyota and Suzuki, and this is a rebadged version of the Rav4. In fact, this is the latest one that has only just been released. So we're going to have a look around the car. This is something a bit special. Talk about what a PHEV is, what this car could offer you. So let's take it out on the road because it's rather cold here, and let's talk about the brand new 2021 Suzuki ACROSS. Welcome to the inside of the nice and warm ACROSS. Let's put my coffee down there for a bit later. So what we're going to do in this video, I want to go out first of all and we can discuss about PHEVs, because that is what this car is, and put the electric range of this car to the test. Now they say it's supposed to do 47 miles of pure electric. That's obviously the claim figure. So what we're going to do, we're going to drive around the local town and the local area and we'll see what this car's actually going to give us. So let's pop the key in this little cubby hole. We'll start up the engine. By default, it starts off in EV mode only. We've got some mode changes you can do, which we'll discuss a bit later on. So at the moment, for reference, we've got a full charge. Currently 897 miles on the clock. It is a brand new car. It's only been out a matter of weeks. So I feel quite lucky to actually be driving this. Put it in D and that's it. So here we go. Let's go and see what the electric range of this new ACROSS is going to be. In order to try and get the maximum range possible from this car, I'm going to be driving quite sensibly. Lots of lifting off and coasting in order to recharge the batteries. It's going to be quite a fun little challenge. It's going to be interesting to see if we can get anywhere near the range they say. Put in the comments down below now what range you think this is going to get. I mean, they claim 47. What do you guys think? Like I said, put in the comments down below, and then at the end you can see whether we've actually hit that target. So you may have noticed there my coat has suddenly disappeared. Schoolboy error, I forgot to take it off. It was cold and horrible outside, but now I'm sweating in here. So I've gone down to just wearing a jumper. Don't worry, no more's coming off other than the jumper. But we'll carry on our little adventure in this ACROSS. It's very futuristic in here. Certainly the instrument binnacle, that is completely digital and I really like it. And what is displayed on there depends on the mode of the car. So because I'm in electric mode, I'm only going to see information about the electric side of the car. So we'd expect to see a rev counter on the left. I've got a power meter, so that has split into different parts. So we've either got charge, eco or power. So when I'm accelerating quite hard, it will be near the top of that, so it'll be in the power bracket. If you're gently accelerating, it will be around the eco, and then when you're lifting off and coasting or braking, it will be charging, so well, it will go down to the charge section. In the middle, we've got the normal speedo, but a ton of other information as well. So things like the amount of EV range, the amounts of electric range, ton of other things as well, driving mode you're in. There is a lot of stuff there. Top left of that, we've got information like when you've got the active cruise control on, details about that. We've got traffic sign recognition. Let's talk about this infotainment system. It is Toyota's infotainment system and not Suzuki's. we have shortcut buttons to the main areas of the infotainment system, and the rest of it is touchscreen. Apple CarPlay comes as standard, which is fantastic because I normally use that regardless of the infotainment system fitted to the car. I'll put on Spotify or a podcast and just drive around. Now, up in the top left, I think we've mentioned this, we have the power being used, which is really nice. So the energy monitor, you can see average fuel consumption, etc, etc. It's a pretty simple layout, not too difficult to navigate your way around. There is a button for the map. I'm not sure why it's not enabled, but it does have one. I would be using Google Maps or Waze anyway, so I don't think I'd ever be going anywhere near that. But it's a nice, simple and clearly laid out and easy to use infotainment system. This ACROSS is the first toe in the water for Suzuki to try out the plug-in hybrid technology. So what is a plug-in hybrid? We've got an internal combustion engine at the front. It's a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder producing around 180 brake horsepower. That's perfectly normal. What we've then got is two electric motors, one on the front axle, one on the back, and a large lithium-ion battery as well to run those two electric motors. If you want to run in EV only mode, it will power both those electric motors with the lithium ion battery. So that's what we're doing at the moment. That's what we're trying to test out. How far can we get on those batteries alone? You can go over to the more traditional hybrid mode, and that will mean it will use both the electric and the petrol engine, and it will cycle between the two depending on how you're driving. If you want lots of power, it will use both electric and petrol. If the electric batteries need charging, petrol will charge that up. It's all very, very clever. So where does this plug-in bit come into the equation? Well, we've said it's got batteries, and those batteries need charging. And the best way for this sort of car, as the name suggests, is you plug it in. And literally, you will plug it in at home or any charging station. You see more and more of these come about. So when you go to the supermarket or shops, just anywhere, side of the road, you will see charging stations, and you plug your car in with a special cable, and that will charge the car. We've said you need to plug the car in order to drive around, but you don't need to worry if you run out of electric power. The car will charge itself. So when you are coasting, so that's when you ease off the accelerator, the motors will turn again and charge the batteries. And also if you brake, rather than just using the brake pads, it uses the electric motor to slow you down and again charging the battery. A very, very clever bit of technology, a great use of kinetic energy to recharge your batteries, so it's free power for nothing. So you've got those two options. Electric vehicles are fantastic, pure electric anyway, but you do need to charge them, and you get, well, range anxiety. That basically is the worry of running out of electric power, but you don't have that with a plug-in hybrid. You run out of power, petrol motor comes on, and you carry on your journey as normal. So underneath the infotainment system, we've got the dual zone climate control. Nice little feature to have. We've got, again, physical buttons and some dials. The only thing that's a bit unusual is the materials used on the dials. It's got like this rubberized, rugged feeling. Maybe that's because it's an SUV and it gives it that more manly feel about having rubberized buttons. Who knows? Underneath that, we've got both driver and passenger heated seats and traction control just under there, so we can turn that on and off. Further down under there, we've got a little place to put your phone and USB cable, so if you want to use the Apple CarPlay, you'll plug your phone in there. We've got a nice leather steering wheel with some red stitching here. Controls for the infotainment system over on the left hand side, and over on the right there's controls for the cruise control. Behind there as well we've got paddles to change gear. Sort of there's a bit of a caveat with changing gear, and I will talk about that in a minute. But generally it's a nice looking steering wheel, feels really nice in the hands. So yeah, definitely a big thumbs up for that one. I did mention that there are paddles behind the steering wheel in order to change gear, but this car doesn't have a gearbox. It doesn't use gears. It uses something very different called a CVT. I'm not going to go into detail about how a CVT works, but what you need to worry about is how you use it, and it is no different to a normal automatic gearbox. You've got an accelerator and a brake, and that's it. The reason CVTs are fitted to this sort of car is they are the most efficient type of transmission you can get. And when you've got something like a plug-in hybrid, the whole purpose of that is to get really nice, smooth driving and decent fuel consumption. This car has a huge amount of technology built into it. We've got active cruise control. That's an enhanced version of cruise control, so you'd stick it at say 70 miles an hour on the motorway. The radar on the front of the car monitors the speed of the traffic ahead of you, and if it slows down, it will slow you down and then speed you back up again. It makes for a lot more relaxing drive. We've got lane assist, so that means it will endeavour to keep you between the white lines and save you wandering off. So if you do happen to drift slightly into another lane, it will give you a gentle nudge on the steering wheel and guide you back over. Traffic sign recognition, so again it will see a traffic sign and display on the digital dash what the speed limit of the road is. We also have blind spot monitoring, so on the edge of the wing mirror you'll get a light blinking up if something's in your blind spot, just to give you a warning. It's quite a big car, so that's a really nice feature to have. There's also assistance if you're reversing out and you can't quite see and there's something that comes up behind you, it will give you a warning. Brake assist, park assist, many different types of assists. As I said, there is a huge amount of things going on with this car. Some of them are really useful, especially the active cruise control. Some maybe not quite so much. I've been driving around Worthing area, I've done a good hour or so. Mileage is certainly racking up. Power is obviously coming down, so we're up at total distance 927 miles, 3/4 of the battery used. So we're not that far away from the claim figure, but we still need to be quite careful. So we're going to head on to some dual carriageway and see how this car gets along with some slightly more normal roads. It's all very well driving around a town, but I don't think you're going to spend all of your time in the town. So we're going to head on over to Goodwood. So there's some nice dual carriageways. Well, as nice as dual carriageways ever get, but it gets me a chance to show you how this active cruise control works, because it is very, very nice. So we're heading on to the dual carriageway, so we're just coming off the slip road, getting up to speed, and once we're on, I will give you a quick chat about how this active cruise control actually works. So now we're doing 60 miles an hour, and we use these controls over on the right hand side here. So I can press this little picture here, it's got a picture of a car. You press that and it says active cruise control enabled, hold down set, and then press the plus button and the speed will climb. So I'm going to set this at 60 miles an hour. In combination with the active cruise control, we've got lane assist, and the two things together make for a very, very pleasant drive. So now I've got it set at 60 miles an hour. I don't need to touch the brake or the accelerator. The lane assist now means the car will control itself and keep me within the 2 white lines. So it's steering for me and accelerating and braking. So I have to do, well, virtually nothing. The only thing, just keep your wits about you. You can't nod off or read a book, and you also need to keep your hands on the wheel. And that's it. The perfect couple of bits of technology that working together make this car phenomenal, especially at longer distance driving. The one thing I wanted to try and avoid was talking about was the price of this car. I was standing outside the dealership and a customer came along and was speaking to me about the car. I said it looked really cool, like the colour. It looked a bit like a Rav4, and I explained that it basically was a Rav4 and the strategic alliance they've got now with Toyota, etc, etc. And I said to him, giving no indication of the price, I said to him, how much do you think this car is? He said, high 20s, low 30s. I then said it was £45,000. And he was shocked. He really was. He said because it was a Suzuki, he thought it would be a cheaper car. And that is the problem for me with this. It is not what the car is. I think it is brilliant so far. It does everything, and it is probably worth every penny of that £45,000. The fact it's a Suzuki to me doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But £45,000 for a Suzuki? I'm just not too sure. I really am not sure. It needs to be considerably cheaper than the Toyota, but it can't be because of, well, what it is a Toyota. They can't charge half the price. So yeah, I'm just not too sure about where this sits with them. Like I said, I think it's brilliant, but this price point, are people going to go for a £45,000 Suzuki? So a bit of an update for you in terms of distance. We've just hit 940 miles total, so we are not that far away from the claimed figures. I look here, we've got, according to this, 0 miles EV left. But if you look at the display, it looks as if we've possibly got a bit more. But we will know very, very shortly. That EV light will come off once we've run out of charge, and we'll be back over to normal hybrid. So the petrol motor will kick in and it will start charging up those batteries again, and then we'll be running on both electric and the more traditional petrol. I'm really impressed with this. We've done lots of town driving, admittedly, and that is where this car really is at home. If you're driving around towns and cities, absolutely fantastic. That bit of dual carriageway there doesn't seem to have affected it that much. There we go, so it's gone over, we're over to hybrid. We've hit 941 miles in total. Wow, that's impressive. That really is good. I don't know what you guys thought at the beginning. Hopefully you commented. So you may have got somewhere near the same number as that, but I'm mega impressed with that. I really am. After all that driving, we know the range of this car, the actual range of just electric, and that is really good. We now know that you could drive 40 miles in a day. Say for example you work 20 miles away, you could charge your car up overnight, drive to work, drive back, plug it in again, charge it overnight, and that's it. You would never have to visit the petrol station. If you have to go on a slightly longer run, you've got the backup of the petrol. I've come down to Goodwood. I was here yesterday. It was a nice day to look around the car, but it's wet and horrible. I want to try and show you around the outside of the car, see if I can find somewhere but maybe with a bit of cover. But it looks like everywhere's really busy, which doesn't help the situation at all. So we can find somewhere over here, maybe undercover, so we can have a quick poke around. Looks like there's a bit of a BMW theme going on here. So let's park up. We'll have a quick walk around the outside and hopefully I don't get too wet, because I think the outside of it looks pretty smart as well. I've just grabbed my camera and we'll have a look around the outside before it starts chucking it down again. It's absolutely typical, but hopefully we've got a few minutes to have a look around the outside of this this ACROSS. So spin you around and here we go. So we'll start off at the front. Now the main change is the grille on here. Now this is different to the Rav4 this is based on, and obviously the Suzuki badge. I love the look of the front of this. It is really, really aggressive. We've got LED headlights, fog lights. It's nice honeycomb mesh in here. We've got all the parking sensors, the radars under here as well. So there's a lot going on at the front. I think this is a very, very smart looking car. I love the aluminium colour that runs across the bottom. The black here, it just looks really smart. So heading on around the side now, we've got pretty big wheels on here. We've got 19-inch and they look very smart indeed. I think the whole side of this car looks like it means business. It's a big car, don't get me wrong, but I really like this. Is one of my favourite sort of SUVs I've seen in a while. We've got a nice contrasting red and black here, sort of gives it a floating roof line. Yeah, it just looks really, really smart. Black roof bars as well. So round the back, got these slightly different tail lights. You've got kick to open on here as well, so you waggle your foot around underneath, and in theory it should open up. The badging for the, just in case you didn't notice, it was a plug-in hybrid. And then round the side, this is where you'd plug in your charger. So where you'd expect to see a petrol cap, you open that up, and in there, that's your special charger you'd plug in, and that is in the boot. So we'll open that up. I've got the key somewhere in my pocket. There we go. So we have got a kick to open, but I was kicking it and not seeming to open it, so you can just press the button and it will open up. So there we go. So it's a pretty large boot, to be honest. We've got this cover that goes over the top. So in here, got some big old charging port there. We've got a little one, which is great. You can plug all kinds of things. We've got tethering points, a light, and under here, we've actually got a proper spare wheel. You do obviously lose a bit of storage because it has batteries under there, but the back of this is very, very usable. So I've got a little button, so we'll press that, and that will close down. I think this is a fantastic looking car. So let's have a look in the back. It's just started chucking it down, which is absolutely horrible. So there's a lot of room in here. This is a good amount. So I'm going to hop in a second. We'll have a quick look at the back. So we've got Isofix, which is great. We've got this central armrest, couple of cup holders, mat pockets as well. We've got, this is great. So we've got 2 charging ports down here. So everyone's happy. You can plug your phone in. Air vents. On the doors, we've got these quite reasonable door bins, electric windows. Heated seats in the back. Oh wow, didn't know that. That's really, really impressive. So we'll hop in. Let's see what legroom's like. So I'm 6 foot, and that was a really nice driving position. And here, loads of room as well. Oh, this is fantastic here. Very, very impressive. Yeah, I would be quite happy to be sitting in the back of this for probably a longer journey, to be honest. It's a big car and you'd expect lots of room. Look at that headroom as well. I've got 4 or 5 inches above me. So, you know, even if you're probably 6'3", 6'4", I think you'll be quite happy to be in here. So yeah, I'm impressed. That was a really quick look around here. Look at the weather, it's absolutely chuck it down. So hopefully that's given you an idea of the outside. So let's hop back in the front. We'll pop the heating back on because now I'm wet and cold. So see you in a minute and I'll be in the driver's seat. Oh, I'm so sorry about being so quick around the outside. The weather is absolutely rotten. It really isn't a nice day at all, but hopefully you've got an idea of what it looks like. Also, we know the electric range, which is fantastic. So we've got around an hour and a half drive to go back to Suzuki Worthing. So we can have a play around with some of the more exciting modes like sports mode on here and see how that gets on. So yeah, not a great day, but pretty good car to be honest. We've done the sensible how far can we go on electric. We're now gonna see how fun this car is. It's not just about being efficient, this thing is fast. We've got the petrol engine, 2 electric motors, that means just over 300 brake horsepower, 60 in 6 seconds. Yeah, big car. And that's proper quick. So we've got it in the hybrid mode. Because the batteries are depleted, you can't go to EV only. Well, there's no battery. But what we can do is also put it in sport. So we twist the button down here, everything's gone red. Even the button down here glows red, that's pretty cool. So what it would do now is use both the petrol motor and the electric to go as quickly as possible. I've not put it in this mode yet, so it'll be interesting coming out of here, being all-wheel drive as well, getting this power down. Should be, yeah, I'm expecting not sports car territory, but not exactly slow. So that was quick. Wow, that was very, very impressive. So there is a mode I've forgotten to talk about, and that's the EV charge hold mode. So there may be a circumstance where you want to hang on to some of your battery charge for when you get closer to home. So for example, if you lived in London, it may be that you've done a longer trip, but you want to use your EV mode once you get into the city. So you'd wait until your battery was at say 50%, press the EV charge hold mode, and it would hang on to that 50%. When you reach London, press the button to go over to electric only, and that's it. So that's a good little feature to have. Needs some thinking about, but not exactly too much. To sum up the new ACROSS, it's a very capable vehicle. It looks good, it drives well, full of technology, loads of space, practical, and for the right person, you might never need to go to the petrol station. If you're doing 40 miles a day, you can drive the car, just remember to plug the thing in overnight, and that's it. Price, obviously, it's a bit shocking at £45,000, no pun intended there with shocking, but it's a lot of money. Not because it's a Suzuki it's a lot of money, it just is a lot of money, but you do get a lot of car. So I'd say it's expensive, but it's not bad value for money. So there you go, that's my final thoughts on the new ACROSS. I hope you've enjoyed a look around this brand new car. Be interesting to know your comments on the vehicle, so please put them down below. Anyway guys, I want to say a big thank you to Suzuki in Worthing for lending me the car. There's very few of these around, so if you do want to test drive it, give them a ring. They are rather rare at the moment, so give the guys there a shout. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Comments are always welcome. And remember to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.